YouTube as well. Okay, so we're still on Monday today, and this is our second session. And this morning we started off and we spoke about lines, remember? And we spoke about closed lines, and that was if both ends of our line came together. And then we spoke a bit about opened lines. And you had a few jobs that you had to do. So you went off and you had some fun with your mouse and your cat and your dog, and then you put them in their own little garden so that they were safe inside and couldn't get away from each other. And then I've seen some beautiful colouring in where children have coloured in the shapes that had closed lines. So there were a few things that you did there. First of all, you could see which ones were open and which ones were closed, and you did colouring as well. And I can see that as you coloured in, most of the children filled in all the blank spaces, which was so great, and you tried so hard not to go out of the lines. So well done on that job, because sometimes on a small shape like that can be a bit tricky, but you did a great job with that. And then I think you had the most fun when you went outside and you drew your shadow shapes. So I have seen so many T-Rexes, and I've seen Stegosaurus, and I've seen horses, and I've seen Diplodocus, and I've seen Brontosaurus. So I think you've had a wonderful time outside. And you know what, even if you don't draw that onto a piece of paper, maybe your shape is too big, so you might have your bicycle standing outside or your little black scooter, and you could put that with the sun behind it or the light behind it, and you could cast your shadow, and you could draw around that with a piece of chalk, and then you would be able to decorate it. You could decorate it with all sorts of shapes. So that's kind of a game that you could do anytime that you wanted. And it's just like reading a book, because if you haven't got a friend with you and you haven't got anyone to play with, I've told you before, reading a book is a really good idea because you can use your imagination. So even if you can't read the words in the book, you can look at the pictures and you can make up your own story as you go along. And the same thing with your shadow drawing. If you've got nobody to play with, but you have got a piece of chalk, you can go outside and you can draw on the paving stones with the chalk. Now I want to tell you something about my house. We've got a small room that is the TV room. And in that TV room, one of the walls is painted a dark grey colour. Okay, so this t-shirt that I've got on here, this long sleeve tracksuit top or long sleeve t-shirt, is a light grey colour. But the wall in our TV room is a dark grey colour, and we just use normal paint. And we have quite a lot of fun with it, because on that wall in the dining room, you are allowed to write with a piece of chalk. So if it's Gary's birthday, I'll write on the wall and I'll go, "Happy birthday, Gaz, have a great day." Or maybe he might be going down to the ocean for a surf and he hasn't left me a note, and he'll say, "Mum, I'm going down to surf, I'll be back at whatever time." And sometimes we just draw pictures. So on Saturday, I decided I wanted to do that circle of life that makes flowers, and I started doing it, and I did pretty well to begin with, and then I made a mistake. Didn't matter, I just took the cloth and I wiped it all off. I'll try again another day. So drawing with chalk is great fun, and you can do it inside or you can do it outside, and it's quite nice to have a chalkboard wall somewhere in your house. I saw someone who had one in their kitchen, and then they used to write their shopping list on it. Or if Matthew had soccer on a Monday afternoon, Mum would write Monday, Math, soccer. And if Mia had to go to art and craft on a Monday, then Mia's mum could write Mia, art and craft. and if Amar was going to go to Adventure Club, then his mom could write that, and it's a reminder. So it's quite fun to have a wall in your house that you can write on and draw on. But to be able to write and to be able to draw, we need to know our letters. And you've all got a little pile of letters that you used the other day to make your name and to make everybody in your family's name. And you had such fun doing that, because your mums and dads sent me photographs of you using these little letter tiles to make names with, and they said that you'd had the most amazing time, that it was an activity that you really loved doing. Okay, so today we're going to do another activity using these tiles. And we call them tiles because they're kind of the same shape as a tile that you might put on the wall in your kitchen or your bathroom. So you could call them letter cards, you can call them letter tiles, you could call them whatever it is that you want. Okay, so this is what they look like. Let's see if we know what they say as they go. You try and say these letters to the person that is sitting next to you. This is E. Yes, this one is yeah, good one over there. That is I'm going to turn this one over. We've done this one. What does this say? K. That is the letter K. Yay. And this one over here is the letter P. Yes, it's a P. I'm only going to do one more. This letter over here coming up now is the letter T. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Now, what we're going to do with these letters today is we're going to do a game, something similar to the game that you did the other day when you did your numbers. So remember, with your numbers, you had to put them into columns that told us whether your numbers were straight lines or curved lines or both. Remember, we did that. Right, so now today we're going to do another column, and I'm just looking at my piece of paper over here, and I'm going to show it to you like that. Okay, yes, you can see there's something on the back of it. Probably I should put something behind it, but I'm trying to use both sides of a piece of paper so that we don't waste. Okay, so we're going to take our letters and we're going to put them into a column of letters that have got closed lines, or a column of letters that have got open lines, or maybe they'll go into a column that has got both a closed and an open line. So if I pick up the letter E, okay, have a look at it. Yep, it would have to go in this middle column because it has got a closed part over there and it's got an open part. So we would put the letter E into that part. Then, if my next letter was this one over here, like A for olive. Yes.
Sorry, we can't see you are more on the side.
Oh, okay. I'm too much on the side. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. Thanks for telling me. I was too one side. Okay, so if I'm doing the letter R, okay, which column is this going to go into? Is it going into the column with the open line? Is it an open and a closed line? Or is it just a closed line? Absolutely, it's just a closed line. Then when I get to the letter, this letter over here, remind me, what does it say? It says K, absolutely, like K for cat. Yes, there are two K sounds, but this one is the curly K. Okay, we haven't done the kicking K yet. So over here with this sound, will it go into the closed line? No, because it's not closed, it's open. So we move it across and we put it into the column with the open lines. Then I've got another one. Over here, I've got the letter P. Okay, so here is my letter P. Like when we have cap. Yep, this is the P. Now, is it closed? Oh, I can see a part of it that is closed, but it's also got an open line. So therefore, it needs to go into the line that is both closed and open. And then the last one I'm going to show you for now is the letter T. Okay, look at that. Is there anything closed with this? No, nothing closed with it at all. So it must go into the column where the lines are open. So that is the first job that you are going to do. Okay, and remember, we do see open and closed lines all around us, even in nature. Because think about a bird's nest. Has a bird's nest got a closed line? No, it stays open all the time. A bird's nest has an open space, so it's a shape, but it's an open shape, so that the birds can go in, because the birds aren't able to open and close doors all by themselves. And if you went to the farm, and the farmer had a hen house, his hen house, he would leave the door open during the day. So that box would be an open line during the day. But at night time, he would drop the door, or he would close the door that way, so that it became a closed line structure, so that if Mr. Fox came along, he wasn't able to go in. Okay, so your first activity, I've told you, is going to be your columns, your letters going into your columns. Your second activity is you're going to play this game. Okay, so the proper name for this game is noughts, because when you're counting, you can call this number 0, or you could call it naught. Okay, so its proper name is noughts and crosses. Some of you call it O and X's, O's and X's, or O and X game. I don't mind what you call it. Okay, now the whole idea with this game is that you've got to try and get 3 shapes that go in a row, and your 3 shapes either need to get to be in a line horizontal, or otherwise they need to be in a vertical line, or otherwise in a diagonal line. And you are only the winner when you can put 3 shapes the same in a line. Okay, so I'm going to show you how this game works. Now, it doesn't matter if you haven't got a game like this. It doesn't matter if you don't have one. It's not the end of the world at all, because it's very easy to just do with a piece of paper. Now, look at these boxes over here. Are they open line or are they closed line? They're closed. Look at this nought. Is it open or closed? It's closed. And look at this cross, this X. What is it? Okay, this is an open line shape. I see I've just got a message coming up from Jabu's mom saying that she can't see or hear me clearly. I think that like when one person is saying that, it means that the others can, and that I think maybe you just need to put your volume up on your volume up on whatever device you're using. I am trying very hard to speak loudly. Okay, right, so what happens over here is each player chooses a shape. So I'm going to choose the crosses, and my imaginary friend called Peter is going to choose the noughts. So I'll let Peter start first. He puts in his nought. So now it's my turn. I'm going to put in a cross because I don't want him to make a horizontal line. So now Peter is going to put in another one. So he looks at the board, and remember, his pattern can be horizontal or vertical or diagonal. So he puts that nought in over there. Now, I need to get clever because I don't want him to do a diagonal line. So I am going to put one of my crosses into here. Now it's Peter's turn, and sneaky, sneaky, look what Peter has done. He has made a vertical line, so Peter is the winner. Now, if you don't have blocks like I have, and I was very lucky because I was given my noughts and crosses game for a present, and I know that they got that present from Mr. Price. Mr. Price has amazing things. But you can take your piece of paper, and on your piece of paper, all you need to do is you draw 2 lines that are vertical, and you draw 2 lines that are horizontal. And there you've made a grid. Now on that grid, you can start to play your game of noughts and crosses. So you can put in your closed line, and Peter can put in his open line. And you can put in your closed line, and Peter can do his open line. And that's how you keep going as you play that game. Now that's another game that you could go outside and you could play on the what do you call that? The slasto or the cement or your paving tiles. You could go and play that outside with a piece of chalk. But if you don't have a piece of chalk, then you can do this over here on a piece of paper. Okay. So you've got 2 jobs to do, and then we're going to have been done for the day. So remember, our first job is that we're going to take our letters and we're going to put them into whichever column they belong in. And when you've done that, take a photograph. Don't use glue to put them in your column. Please don't use glue because we'll use those letters for something else again. So that's why I'm saying to you, take a photograph and send it to me on the WhatsApp group. Okay, don't glue them on because we're going to keep using those letters, and then Mum and Dad don't have to print them again. And the second activity that you're going to do is you're going to play some games of noughts and crosses. And then when you are done, you can go off and play. And if you're looking for something extra to do, I'm looking for another piece of paper because maybe you're thinking, oh, it's nippy outside and you don't want to play. When you're doing your famous artists, I'm looking for a book to press on. When you were doing your famous artists, there was one of our artists, Kandinsky, had divided the paper up into a grid like that. Okay, so some of those lines are open and some of them are closed. And then he had all these circles, these different color, shape and size circles. You'll be able to find it very easily. I'll put it back on the chat for you. So if you hadn't done that piece of art where you had all the different color circles that went inside each other and around each other, and you're looking for a piece of art to do, you could do that too. Because there we have closed lines that are happening in our artwork as well. You don't have to do this, you might already have done that. But I will find it and I will put it up for you so that if you haven't got enough to do this afternoon, you'll be able to do that. Okay, but your 2 important jobs are to put your letters into their columns and to play some noughts and crosses. Okay, everybody, that's us done. And I'm going to see you again tomorrow morning at 8:30 when we've got the next letter of the alphabet that we're going to learn about. And we'll talk about that some more tomorrow afternoon. I hope you have a really happy afternoon. Okay. Bye, everybody.